Long before the towering skyscrapers of modern cities, long before the lush green forests swaying under gentle breezes, the Earth was an entirely different realm. A vast, largely alien world dominated by endless oceans. These primordial seas, blanketing most of the planet's surface, were the stage upon which the earliest chapters of marine life were written. It is here, in these ancient waters, that the story of marine reptiles begins, setting the foundation for the dazzling array of prehistoric sea giants that would one day roam the depths. To truly appreciate the grandeur of marine reptiles and their reign in the ancient oceans, we must first travel back hundreds of millions of years, deep into the past, to a time known as the Paleozoic and early Mesozoic eras. The Earth then was a dramatically different place compared to today, with shifting continents, fluctuating sea levels, and a very different atmosphere. The oceans were vast and deep, and they brimmed with early life forms that were just beginning to explore the possibilities of aquatic existence. These primordial seas were a churning crucible of biological innovation. Chemical processes, sunlight penetrating ancient waters, and the energetic turbulence of waves combined to create a highly dynamic environment. It was in these conditions that the earliest life forms had the opportunity to evolve, adapt, and diversify. Single-celled organisms gave way to more complex multicellular animals, which eventually led to the proliferation of invertebrates like sponges, trilobites, brachiopods, and the earliest cephalopods. Yet, the dominant vertebrate marine creatures we imagine today, sharks, whales, or marine reptiles, had not yet made their mark. The origins of marine reptiles, in particular, are an astonishing evolutionary tale of transition and adaptation. These creatures were not born in the sea, but evolved from terrestrial ancestors that gradually returned to the water to exploit new ecological niches. This marked a critical evolutionary event, the conquest of the oceans by vertebrates that had once ruled the land. During the late Permian and into the Triassic periods, following a catastrophic mass extinction that wiped out much of Earth's life, new opportunities presented themselves in the recuperating oceans. Land-dwelling reptiles, ancestors to groups we now call marine reptiles, began to experiment evolutionarily with aquatic lifestyles. Their bodies started to modify. Limbs evolved into paddles, tails flattened to become effective swimming tools, and respiratory and sensory systems adapted for underwater life. It is within this context that the first true marine reptiles emerged, marking the dawn of a remarkable marine era. Understanding the origins of these marine reptiles requires examining both their terrestrial ancestry and the selective pressures that shaped their aquatic adaptations. Early reptiles that ventured back into water likely did so to exploit rich food resources, escape terrestrial predators, or exploit new reproductive strategies. Over millions of years, natural selection favored features such as streamlined bodies for efficient swimming, salt glands to manage the challenges of seawater, and powerful jaws to capture slippery prey. The earliest marine reptiles were not the enormous creatures we often envision today, but smaller, more versatile animals capable of navigating shallow coastal waters and estuaries. These environments served as evolutionary playgrounds, where the ancestors of ichthyosaurs, plesiosaurs, and other marine reptiles honed their swimming abilities and perfected hunting skills that would eventually lead to gigantic sizes and apex predator status. It's also crucial to appreciate the ecological context of these primordial seas. Marine reptiles did not evolve in isolation, but as part of complex ecosystems teeming with fish, invertebrates, and other early vertebrates. Their rise was both influenced by and influential upon the structure of these communities. Predator-prey dynamics, competition for resources, and reproductive strategies all played roles in sculpting the evolutionary paths that led to the spectacular diversity of marine reptiles. At the same time, the chemistry and physical properties of the oceans were gradually changing. Increasing levels of oxygenation and the spread of coral reefs created new habitats and niches. The carbon cycle and oceanic currents shaped nutrient availability. These factors formed a dynamic backdrop against which the earliest marine reptiles evolved. One cannot overlook the influence of geological events. The breakup of supercontinents such as Pangaea altered oceanic patterns and connectivity, opening migration corridors and isolating populations. Such geographic changes spurred diversification and specialization within marine groups. As our journey begins, keep in mind that the story of marine reptiles is a chapter in the larger saga of life, adapting to Earth's vast and varied environments. The transition from land to sea among reptiles was a profound evolutionary leap, showcasing nature's ingenuity and resilience. In the sections to come, we will delve deeper into the fascinating worlds these creatures inhabited, their forms, behaviors, and the incredible ages they lived through. For now, picture the early Earth, silent, mysterious oceans stretching endlessly beneath wide skies, harboring the earliest stirrings of marine reptile life. From here, the path leads forward into the unfolding drama of ancient seas and the fantastic creatures that would dominate them in the eons to come. As we continue to explore the ancient oceanic worlds that predate the rise of marine reptiles and other prehistoric giants, we find ourselves journeying back over 500 million years, deep into the Cambrian and Ordovician periods, epochs that laid the very foundation for complex marine ecosystems and the incredible biodiversity that would follow. The Cambrian period, beginning approximately 541 million years ago, marks one of the most pivotal chapters in the history of life on Earth. It was an era characterized by what scientists call the Cambrian Explosion, a remarkable evolutionary event during which most major animal phyla first appeared in the fossil record. Prior to this, life was largely microscopic and simple, confined mostly to soft-bodied creatures that left scant traces behind. But the Cambrian seas suddenly teemed with surprisingly diverse and complex organisms, many sporting hard shells or exoskeletons that allowed for the preservation of detailed fossils. Imagine these ancient oceans as vibrant underwater landscapes, filled with an array of strange and wondrous creatures. Early arthropods, distant relatives of modern insects and crustaceans, dominated these waters. Among them was Anomalocaris, a curious and enigmatic predator sporting large compound eyes, multiple jointed limbs, and a segmented body that propelled it through the water with swift, undulating motions. At lengths of up to a meter, Anomalocaris was one of the earliest apex predators, hunting smaller animals that crawled along the ancient seafloor. While it may seem modest in size compared to later marine giants, during the Cambrian, it was a formidable presence. The seafloor itself was a bustling arena populated by trilobites, a group of hard-shelled arthropods with distinctive ridged exoskeletons that evolved into many diverse forms. Trilobites were among the most successful early marine animals, ranging from bottom-dwelling scavengers to agile hunters. Their abundance and diversity provide scientists with rich insights into early marine ecosystems. Alongside these arthropods, early forms of mollusks, brachiopods, which superficially resemble clams but are unrelated, and sponges thrived, often forming colonies or reefs that offered habitats for other creatures. Primitive echinoderms, the group that includes starfish and sea urchins, began to make their first appearances. These early communities were already structured around complex food webs, with predators and prey, scavengers and filter feeders each occupying their ecological roles. The Ordovician period that followed spanning approximately 485 to 443 million years ago, witnessed a continuation and expansion of this burgeoning marine biodiversity. Seas were generally warm and shallow, covering much of the continental shelves, creating vast habitats perfect for marine life proliferation. During the Ordovician, marine ecosystems became even more intricate. Coral reefs, built by early relatives of modern corals called tabulate and rugose corals, began to flourish, creating protective structures that supported diverse assemblages of organisms. These reefs fostered rich environments teeming with life, laying down calcium carbonate structures that would later fossilize into the reef deposits we study today. At this time, the early vertebrates were just starting their long evolutionary journey. Though jawed fish had not yet evolved, we see the emergence of jawless fish, primitive, armored creatures encased in bony plates, often resembling elongated torpedo shapes covered with protective scales. Their dominance was temporary but essential, paving the way for their descendants to exploit new niches. One of the defining features of the Ordovician seas was a dramatic increase in both diversity and ecosystem complexity, including newly sophisticated predator-prey dynamics. Some arthropods developed spines and defensive armor, adaptations driven by escalating evolutionary arms races between hunters and the hunted. The oceans of the Cambrian and Ordovician were not just zones of biological experimentation, but also chemical and geological theaters. Sea levels during these epochs were generally high, flooding large parts of continental interiors and creating shallow epicontinental seas with varying salinity and temperature gradients. These environmental factors influenced where and how organisms lived, fostering regional diversities and localized evolutionary pathways. Each organism, from the tiny filter-feeding sponges sieving microscopic plankton to the swift Anomalocaris hunting along the seafloor, contributed to a delicate balance. Nutrient cycles, energy flows, and habitat structures formed the intricate tapestry that would underpin all subsequent marine life, including the magnificent sea giants of much later periods. Fossilized remains from these times, such as the famous Burgess Shale deposits, offer a snapshot into this long-lost world, showcasing exquisitely preserved organisms that appear almost surreal in detail and complexity. These fossils provide not only scientific evidence of life's diversity, but an enduring glimpse into the ancient ecosystems where the earliest foundations for marine reptiles and other large marine predators were laid. Reflecting on this ancient past, it becomes clear that the Cambrian and Ordovician seas were ecosystems defined by innovation, diversity, and dynamic interactions. An evolutionary crucible. Here, life took some of its first bold steps towards the complexity and grandeur we associate with the later prehistoric oceans. In our next exploration, we will delve deeper into the fascinating role of early marine predators, particularly the arthropods, like Anomalocaris, whose evolutionary innovations set the stage for the emergence of more formidable hunters. Their adaptations and biologic strategies illuminate the evolutionary pressures and ecological shifts that would shape the progression from small ancient creatures to the colossal marine giants that eventually dominated the prehistoric seas. In the vast tapestry of ancient oceans, a critical evolutionary chapter unfolds with the rise of the first true marine predators, masters of their watery domain, who sparked dramatic shifts in marine ecosystems. Central to this transformative story is Anomalocaris, an extraordinary and enigmatic predator that roamed the Cambrian seas some 520 million years ago, alongside other early arthropods that shaped the dynamics of early marine life. To understand the significance of Anomalocaris and its fellow arthropods, we must return to a world where the seas were teeming with newfound complexity. Yet the very concept of predation, the active hunting of other organisms, was only beginning to take hold. Before this burst of evolutionary innovation, Many animals lived simply as scavengers, filter feeders, or passive grazers. But the appearance of active hunters introduced profound ecological pressures, catalyzing an evolutionary arms race that led to rapid diversification and the development of new anatomical adaptations. Anomalocaris, whose name means abnormal shrimp, was once a perplexing fossil, initially thought to represent multiple isolated creatures due to its unusual anatomy. Today, it is recognized as a single, streamlined predator that reached lengths approaching 1 meter, making it the largest animal of its time. Its body was a marvel of evolutionary design optimized for hunting in the Cambrian seas. Anomalocaris possessed a pair of large, compound eyes perched atop its head, granting it excellent vision to detect prey. Its 2 large, segmented frontal appendages ended in spiny, claw-like structures, which it used to grasp and manipulate its prey with precision. The creature's mouth was peculiar, a circular arrangement of plates forming a pineapple slice structure, capable of exerting powerful bites to crush the shells of smaller animals. Propelling itself with undulating body segments and large tail flaps, Anomalocaris was an agile swimmer, capable of swift bursts of speed to chase or ambush prey along the seafloor. It likely fed on trilobites and other soft-bodied or lightly armored animals crawling beneath or within sediment. Anomalocaris's role as a top predator set the stage for evolutionary adaptations across many marine groups. Faced with the threat of predation, prey species began developing protective features such as hard exoskeletons, spines, and more complex mobility. This predator-prey interaction spurred a co-evolutionary arms race, accelerating evolutionary rates and leading to the rich biodiversity we observe in subsequent geological records. Alongside Anomalocaris, other early arthropods played vital roles in the development of marine ecosystems. Different groups, such as trilobites and early crustacean-like organisms, diversified into various ecological niches. Some adapted for scavenging, others for burrowing or filter feeding. Their varying morphologies reflected these choices, from flat, heavily armored bodies for defense to light, spiny exteriors for mobility and sensory purposes. The success of arthropods during this time can be attributed to key features. Their segmented bodies afforded flexibility, and their articulated appendages enabled a variety of functions essential for survival. Exoskeletons provided protection and structural support, while jointed limbs enhanced locomotion and captured prey efficiently. Notably, the emergence of these marine predators also influenced the structure of early marine communities. Predation pressure forced changes in behavior and habitats. Many animals sought refuge in burrows or reef-like structures, while others developed camouflage or swam into new ecological zones. These shifts contributed to increasing complexity in the food webs and the formation of more stable ecosystems. The Cambrian seas, bathed in warm, shallow waters, were thus a crucible of evolutionary experimentation. It was not merely the appearance of predators like Anomalocaris, but their impact that helped pave the way for later evolutionary milestones, including the eventual rise of vertebrate predators, and millions of years later, the conquering of the seas by reptiles. As the Ordovician period dawned, these early predator-prey dynamics expanded and intensified. New groups such as jawless vertebrates began to emerge, diversifying the trophic structure and introducing novel predators. Meanwhile, arthropods continued to evolve and radiate, controlling numerous ecological niches. Taken together, the rise of Anomalocaris and its aquatic arthropod contemporaries represents a defining evolutionary moment, the beginning of active predation as a significant ecological force. Their presence rewrote the rules of survival in the ancient oceans, shaping biodiversity patterns and defining the evolutionary paths of life in the sea. In the following sections, we will explore how vertebrates, early fish with jaws and powerful adaptations built upon these marine predatory foundations to become the dominant aquatic hunters, eventually leading to the titanic marine reptiles so famous in the fossil record. For now, allow yourself to imagine the dark Cambrian seas, where ripples stirred the sand, and the shadows of Anomalocaris flickered beneath the surface, hunting silently with unmatched precision. The ancient ocean's first true giant predators. As the ancient seas continued to flourish in complexity following the Cambrian and Ordovician periods, life evolved in fascinating and profound ways, ushering in new forms that would forever alter marine ecosystems. One of the most consequential evolutionary landmarks in this grand story is the rise of jawed fish, the vertebrates that would take the oceans by storm and lay the groundwork for some of the mightiest aquatic predators in Earth's history. This chapter of evolution, spanning primarily the Silurian and Devonian periods, roughly 443 to 359 million years ago, witnesses the dramatic emergence and diversification of two pivotal groups, the placoderms and the sarcopterygians. Both represent distinct lineages of early jawed fish, each contributing uniquely to marine biodiversity, ecological complexity, and ultimately to the evolutionary lineage that would lead to marine reptiles and even to the tetrapods that ventured onto land. To grasp the significance of these jawed fishes, it is vital to appreciate the context. Before their appearance, vertebrate marine fauna were dominated by jawless fish, creatures armored with bony plates, but limited in their ability to seize and process prey effectively. The evolution of jaws marked a turning point, providing both a mechanical advantage for feeding and new avenues for ecological specialization. Placoderms, whose name means plate-skinned, were among the earliest jawed vertebrates. They flourished predominantly during the Devonian period, sometimes referred to as the Age of Fishes. These creatures were covered with heavy armored plates, forming protective shields over their heads and thoracic regions. But inside this armored fortress were complex jaws equipped with sharp, bony edges capable of grasping, crushing, or slicing prey. These jawed fish were remarkably diverse. Some placoderms, like Dunkleosteus, reached titanic sizes, growing up to 10 meters long, and held positions as apex predators of their time. Their armored bodies and powerful jaws allowed them to prey upon other large fish, placoderms, and even early sharks. Dunkleosteus possessed a bite strength incomparable among early vertebrates, enabling it to tear through armored opponents with terrifying efficiency. Beyond their impressive size and armor, placoderms exhibited fascinating evolutionary innovations. Many had paired pectoral and pelvic fins, allowing for improved maneuverability and stability in water. Some species bore evidence of complex reproductive behaviors, including internal fertilization and possible live birth, a significant adaptation among early vertebrates. While placoderms reigned supreme in shallow marine environments, their evolutionary cousins, the sarcopterygians, were quietly setting the stage for a crucial evolutionary leap. The sarcopterygians, or lobe-finned fishes, are distinguished by their fleshy, lobed paired fins connected to the body by a single bone. This structure contrasted with the slender, ray-like fins of other fish and foreshadowed the evolution of limbs in tetrapods. In the Devonian, sarcopterygians began to diversify, experimenting with a range of sizes and ecological roles. Some were small freshwater dwellers, while others roamed coastal and marine environments. Among the most famous sarcopterygians are the coelacanths, the so-called living fossils, and the lungfishes, both lineages that survive even into the modern era. Critically, some sarcopterygians pushed the boundaries of terrestrial adaptation. Their lobed fins offered the skeletal support needed to navigate complex, shallow water environments, or even briefly venture onto wetlands and mudflats. These adaptations eventually paved the way for the colonization of land. But in the seas, they promoted diverse predation and niche exploitation. Together, placoderms and sarcopterygians represent a key evolutionary stage where vertebrates gained powerful new tools for feeding, movement, and survival. The advent of jaws allowed these fishes to adopt a broad spectrum of diets, from hard-shelled mollusks to other fish, triggering complex food chains and fostering rapid speciation. However, the evolutionary saga of these groups was not identical. Placoderms, despite their dominance, eventually declined toward the end of the Devonian, possibly due to changing environmental conditions, competition from emerging sharks, or mass extinction events. Sarcopterygians, meanwhile, persisted and evolved toward more diverse forms, including the ancestors of all tetrapods, creatures that would ultimately conquer terrestrial realms. The shift from jawless to jawed fish also marks a moment of anatomical innovation beyond just jaws. With more efficient respiration, enhanced sensory organs, and improved locomotion, vertebrate fish refined their survival strategies in the dynamic and often competitive marine environments. In sum, this evolutionary horizon from fish to titans heralds an era where vertebrate life expanded its ecological dominion in the seas. The power and diversity of placoderms, alongside the subtle yet profound innovations of sarcopterygians, prepared the evolutionary stage for further aquatic conquest. Looking ahead, these developments form the backdrop for the immense biological transitions of the Devonian and Carboniferous periods, where marine fauna experienced significant evolutionary and environmental shifts. Soon, the vertebrate lineage would witness the emergence of amphibious forms and the gradual reinvasion of aquatic realms by reptilian descendants, setting in motion the rise of the magnificent marine reptiles. As we gently glide forward in time, let's carry with us the image of primeval seas filled with armored behemoths, like Dunkleosteus prowling the waters, while lobed-finned fish explore shallow tides, the very beginnings of the evolutionary legacy that culminates in the giants of the ancient oceans. As our journey through the ancient seas unfolds, we arrive at a pivotal and transformative chapter spanning the Devonian and Carboniferous periods, roughly 419 to 299 million years ago. A time when Earth's marine ecosystems underwent profound changes that reshaped life in oceans around the world. Known as the Age of Fishes, the Devonian witnessed explosive diversification and innovation, while the subsequent Carboniferous continued this evolutionary momentum amid shifting environmental conditions. Together, these periods represent a world in transition, an epoch that set the stage for future oceanic giants and complex marine communities. During the Devonian, the seas brimmed with an astonishing diversity of life. Placoderms, as mentioned earlier, reached their zenith, with genera like Dunkleosteus dominating shallow marine habitats. These armored-jawed fish were apex predators, their robust frames and powerful bite showcasing nature's experimentation with hunting strategies. Yet equally remarkable was the flourishing of other fish groups, including early sharks and lobe-finned fish, sarcopterygians, which were beginning to explore both marine and freshwater environments. The Devonian marine realm was marked by an ecological complexity that rivaled even modern systems. Extensive coral reefs, constructed primarily by tabulate and rugose corals, provided three-dimensional habitats sheltering a wealth of invertebrates such as brachiopods, bryozoans, and mollusks. These reefs were bustling underwater cities, hosting a variety of fish and early ammonites, the coiled ancestors of later ammonites. Their presence fostered intricate food webs, with grazers, filter feeders, hunters, and scavengers all interdependent in delicate balance. One of the most fascinating developments of the Devonian was the proliferation of jawed fish as they began to diversify into a range of ecological niches. Early sharks, for example, evolved improved sensory capabilities and faster swimming adaptations, heralding a lineage that would persist and dominate for millions of years. Sarcopterygians continued evolving their distinctive lobed fins, some developing those crucial adaptations necessary for straying into shallower waters and, eventually, terrestrial landscapes. However, beneath this thriving backdrop loomed significant environmental changes that heralded challenges ahead. The Devonian period experienced fluctuations in climate and sea levels, with episodes of cooling and warming, alongside shifts in ocean chemistry. One of the most consequential events was the late Devonian extinction, a series of biotic crises that profoundly impacted marine life. This prolonged extinction event selectively affected reef-building organisms and many groups of jawed fish, including placoderms, which began a gradual decline, leading to their eventual disappearance by the end of the Devonian. Transitioning into the Carboniferous period, approximately 359 to 299 million years ago, we observe a world still recovering and adapting. The seas were generally warm, shallow, and nutrient-rich, favoring the expansion of new marine communities. Coral reefs saw a resurgence, though the types of corals changed, with true stony corals beginning their rise. Crinoids, often called sea lilies, flourished abundantly, transforming seafloors into dense meadows. These filter-feeding echinoderms provided habitats for other creatures and influenced sediment dynamics profoundly. Meanwhile, marine vertebrates continued their evolutionary narrative. Sharks and ray-finned fish, actinopterygians, gained prominence, developing sharper teeth, more efficient swimming mechanics, and diverse feeding strategies. Ray-finned fish would eventually surpass other fish groups in numbers and diversity, but in these early stages they were already carving out vital roles across ecosystems. Sarcopterygians also maintained their evolutionary trajectory, with some lineages adapting to freshwater habitats, which were expanding due to widespread swampy ecosystems and the intricate river networks typical of the Carboniferous landscape. These freshwater environments provided crucibles for experimentation that would ultimately lead vertebrates onto land. The Carboniferous marine ecosystems demonstrated a fascinating interplay between stability and change. Nutrient cycles intensified, driven by the vast proliferation of plants on land that enriched soils and runoff, supporting explosive marine productivity. At the same time, emerging predators and competitors exerted evolutionary pressures, fostering new adaptations and diversifications. Invertebrates, too, evolved in complexity. Mollusks diversified, with ammonoids becoming significant marine inhabitants. Arthropods continued to be important players. Eurypterids, often called sea scorpions, reached impressive sizes and were key predators or scavengers in their habitats. The ocean floors teemed with brittle stars, crinoids, and early forms of starfish. Altogether, the Devonian and Carboniferous paint a vivid picture of a marine world both fertile and dynamic. Extinctions and radiations intertwined, reshaping ecosystems and laying intricate ecological foundations. The marine fauna, challenged by climatic shifts and biotic upheavals, displayed resilience and adaptability. This world in transition set essential precursors for the promising futures of marine reptiles and other aquatic megafauna. The extinction of placoderms opened ecological niches that would later be occupied by new predator lineages. The evolutionary experimentation of fish groups provided anatomical and physiological templates from which more complex vertebrates could evolve. The transition between these periods is a profound reminder of Earth's ever-changing nature, where cycles of creation and destruction drive innovation. Beneath the waves, life was never static. It surged forward, experimenting and morphing, waiting for new opportunities to arise. As we gently drift from this remarkable world toward the emergence of reptiles reclaiming the seas, we stand witness to evolution's relentless tide. The Devonian and Carboniferous oceans were the crucibles forging the frameworks upon which the ancient sea giants would later stand tall. Next, we will explore how land-dwelling reptiles began their extraordinary journey back into these ancient waters, continuing the timeless dance between earth and sea. With the ancient oceans bustling with life and diversity from the Cambrian through the Carboniferous, an extraordinary evolutionary story was quietly unfolding on the fringes of this aquatic world. A story of adaptation, resilience, and remarkable transformation. This is the tale of the reptilian conquest of the seas, a profound journey where creatures that once ruled the land decided to return to the water, forever altering marine ecosystems and laying the groundwork for the spectacular marine reptiles to come. To appreciate this fascinating transition, we must consider the evolutionary and environmental backdrop during the late Paleozoic and early Mesozoic eras, a time when reptiles emerged as dominant vertebrates on land. Unlike amphibians, which still depended heavily on water for reproduction, reptiles had evolved key adaptations such as amniotic eggs that permitted reproduction away from aquatic environments, along with tougher, more water-resistant skin. These adaptations opened vast terrestrial realms to their conquest. Yet, as land reptiles diversified and thrived, various lineages began to explore new ecological opportunities in the aquatic realm. The motivations for returning to water were likely multifaceted. The abundance of food sources in coastal and marine environments, reduced competition or predation pressures, and evolving climatic conditions that encouraged aquatic habits. Over millions of years, these incursions led to the evolution of fully marine reptiles. The earliest reptilian ventures into water were probably modest, semi-aquatic lifestyles supported by gradual anatomical changes. Limbs began to transform, becoming more paddle-like, enhancing swimming capabilities, while tails elongated or flattened to serve as powerful propellers. Sensory adaptations suited for underwater perception evolved, and physiological changes such as salt gland development helped manage life in saline environments. The Triassic period, following the devastating Permian-Triassic mass extinction, witnessed the most significant diversification of these pioneers. Nature, having reset ecosystems, provided open ecological niches. Among the earliest marine reptiles were groups such as the nothosaurs and placoderms, which demonstrated varied morphologies tailored for aquatic life. Nothosaurs, with their slender, elongated bodies and paddle-like limbs, were adept swimmers and likely occupied near-shore habitats. They are thought to be evolutionary precursors to the more specialized plesiosaurs, which would later dominate the oceans. Plecoderms, in contrast, had robust, flattened bodies with heavy osteoderms and strong, crushing teeth, adapted to feed on hard-shelled mollusks, showcasing the ecological diversification taking shape. These early marine reptiles retained some terrestrial features, indicating their recent evolutionary departure from land-dwelling ancestors. Over the ensuing millions of years, natural selection drove more pronounced aquatic adaptations. Limbs further evolved into flippers, tails grew powerful and sometimes finned, while streamlined bodies enhanced swimming efficiency. This remarkable conquest was not only a story of form and function, but also one of ecological impact. The emergence of marine reptiles introduced new predation dynamics, competing with fish and invertebrate predators, shaping prey populations and influencing food webs. Their radiation also drove evolutionary pressures on other marine organisms, promoting further biodiversity. Moreover, the reptilian return to the seas exemplifies the plasticity of vertebrate life. These creatures illustrate how evolution can recycle life's strategies. repurposing terrestrial anatomy for aquatic mastery. The marine reptiles of the Triassic and later periods are testimony to life's relentless adaptability, thriving in the oceans for over 100 million years. As we reflect on this transition, envision lush Triassic coastlines, where rugged nothosaurs glide through warm, shallow waters and placodonts forage along the seabed. These scenes herald the dawn of a new age, an evolutionary renaissance where reptiles would come to reign as true marine giants. In our next segment, we will further explore how one of the earliest groups of fully aquatic reptiles, the ichthyosaurs, emerged as streamlined, fast hunters of the Triassic seas, carving out their place as masters in a world reclaimed from land. In the grand timeline of Earth's history, the dawn of the Triassic period marks a new beginning. In the wake of the cataclysmic Permian-Triassic extinction, which had wiped out a staggering majority of life, the stage was reset for evolutionary innovation. Among the many remarkable creatures to emerge during this time were the ichthyosaurs, sleek, streamlined marine reptiles that filled the oceans as some of their earliest dominant predators. The rise of ichthyosaurs represents a fascinating chapter of adaptation and survival, where reptiles decisively embraced the aquatic world, evolving incredible features that rival even modern-day marine animals. Ichthyosaurs, their name meaning fish lizards, evolved rapidly during the early Triassic, roughly 250 million years ago. They were among the first reptiles to become truly aquatic, demonstrating spectacular morphological changes that optimized their swimming capabilities. Initially resembling somewhat elongated lizards, their forms soon transformed to become more fish-like, embodying a perfect blend of reptilian anatomy and streamlined hydrodynamics. The earliest ichthyosaurs were moderate in size, and their fossils suggest they inhabited a variety of marine environments, from shallow coastal waters to deeper offshore seas. What sets ichthyosaurs apart was their exceptional adaptation for life in the water. Their bodies grew fusiform, or spindle-shaped, which minimized drag and allowed swift movement through the water. Limbs morphed into rigid paddles, perfectly suited for steering, stabilization, and maneuvering with agility. A distinctive feature was the powerful crescent-shaped tail fin, supported by a downward bend in the tail vertebrae, which provided propulsion. This adaptation is strikingly similar to modern-day fish and cetaceans, a marvelous example of convergent evolution, where unrelated animal groups evolve similar traits to adapt to comparable environments. Their skulls were elongated, equipped with an impressive array of sharp conical teeth, perfect for seizing slippery prey such as fish and cephalopods. The large eye sockets evident in fossils reveal that ichthyosaurs had excellent vision, possibly adapted for hunting in dimly lit or deeper waters. Some species had eye diameters approaching 15 centimeters, among the largest of any vertebrate, suggesting a lifestyle that demanded acute visual acuity. Ichthyosaurs were viviparous, meaning they gave birth to live young rather than laying eggs. Fossil evidence shows embryos preserved inside adult bodies, a groundbreaking discovery proving that these reptiles were fully aquatic and had evolved reproductive adaptations that freed them from the need to return to land. The evolutionary journey of ichthyosaurs highlights remarkable physiological innovations. Their bodies accommodated adaptations for deep diving, such as streamlined forms and efficient oxygen management. Their robust bone structures supported muscle attachment essential for powerful swimming, while specialized inner ears likely aided in balance and underwater hearing. During the Triassic, ichthyosaurs diversified into a range of sizes and ecological niches. Some species remained relatively small and nimble hunters, while others reached impressive lengths exceeding 10 meters, becoming apex predators in their marine habitats. This diversification reflected the richness and complexity of Triassic seas, where competition and predation pressures drove specialization. The success of ichthyosaurs also significantly influenced marine food webs. Their predation pressured various prey species, while they themselves had to navigate threats from crocodile-like reptiles, and later, plesiosaurs and pliosaurs. The presence of such formidable reptiles forged intricate ecological relationships and dynamic evolutionary pathways. Furthermore, ichthyosaurs are remarkable for their evolutionary speed and morphological plasticity. In a geologically brief span, they evolved from primitive, somewhat lizard-like swimmers to highly specialized, fast, and efficient marine predators, showcasing how life rapidly capitalizes on vacant ecological niches following mass extinctions. Their extinction millions of years later, in the late Cretaceous, was partly due to environmental changes and the rise of other marine reptile clades. However, their legacy remains profound, inspirational even in their likeness to dolphins and other modern marine animals. Ichthyosaurs embody nature's ability to reinvent and adapt, converging on successful designs to master the oceans. Imagine for a moment the quiet depths of a Triassic sea. A shadow glides swiftly, fins slicing through the water with effortless grace. The ichthyosaur moves with purpose, keen eyes scanning, jaws ready to snap at a darting fish. It is a perfect blend of reptilian heritage and aquatic mastery, a true marvel of evolution riding the tides of a world reborn from extinction. As we move forward, we will delve deeper into fascinating adaptations that allowed ichthyosaurs to thrive as deep-diving, fast-swimming hunters and explore the wider diversity of marine reptiles that shared and shaped these ancient seas. The story of ichthyosaurs is one of evolutionary mastery, an impressive saga where reptiles transformed themselves into some of the ocean's most adept predators. Following their emergence in the early Triassic, ichthyosaurs rapidly evolved adaptations that enabled them not only to swim swiftly across vast marine expanses, but also to venture into the depths previously inaccessible to many animals. This section delves deeply into the remarkable innovations that equipped ichthyosaurs for fast swimming and deep diving, shedding light on their physiology, biomechanics, and sensory capabilities. At first glance, ichthyosaurs resemble modern dolphins or sharks, an example of convergent evolution where unrelated groups evolve similar body forms to thrive in analogous environments. This streamlined, fish-shaped body plan was no accident. It was crucial for reducing water resistance and maximizing swimming efficiency. Their fusiform bodies tapered smoothly at both ends, eliminating turbulence and drag as they propelled through the water with powerful strokes of their crescent-shaped tails. The tail fin was not merely an appendage, but a highly specialized structure, supported by a downward bend of the vertebral column, a feature known as a hypocercal tail, which generated thrust and helped with precise maneuverability. Their forelimbs transformed into flippers, with bones becoming shortened and widened, while the joints became highly flexible yet strong. This allowed ichthyosaurs to steer deftly, brake, and stabilize at a range of speeds. The hind limbs, by contrast, were reduced or lost entirely in later forms, a trend seen also in whales, signifying a body fully committed to aquatic life. Internally, ichthyosaurs developed bones that were relatively light yet strong, helping minimize body weight while withstanding the mechanical stresses of swimming and diving. Bone microstructure studies indicate they possessed a degree of osteosclerosis, an increase in bone density, to help with buoyancy control, allowing them to maintain precise depths in the water column. One of the most fascinating adaptations of ichthyosaurs was in their respiratory and circulatory systems. Like modern marine mammals, they had to surface to breathe air, so efficient oxygen management was paramount. While fossilized soft tissues are rare, comparison with their closest living analogs suggests ichthyosaurs had large muscular lungs, enabling rapid and deep breaths. Their metabolic rate was likely high, supporting sustained swimming and enabling them to chase agile prey. The anatomy of their vertebrae also suggests strong muscular attachments that contributed to powerful tail beats. These large muscles generated the propulsion needed for bursts of speed. Some ichthyosaurs could reach impressive velocities, making them formidable hunters. Ichthyosaurs were also equipped with sensory adaptations optimized for life beneath the waves. Their enormous, forward-facing eyes were protected by bony sclerotic rings, which not only maintained the shape of the eye under pressure, but may have enhanced low-light vision, crucial for hunting in dim and deep waters. Some species are thought to have dived hundreds of meters down, relying on sight to locate prey such as squid or fish in near darkness. Further, it is believed that ichthyosaurs possessed acute hearing adapted to detect underwater sounds. Their ear structure, preserved in some fossil specimens, shows modifications toward underwater sound reception, perhaps enabling them to sense prey or communicate. Intriguingly, ichthyosaurs developed physiological tolerance for pressure changes during deep dives, akin to modern marine mammals. This adaptation would have prevented issues like decompression sickness and allowed them to exploit food resources inaccessible to less specialized predators. Reproductive innovations were critical in freeing ichthyosaurs from the limitations of terrestrial egg-laying. Fossils displaying embryos inside female ichthyosaurs confirm they were viviparous, meaning they gave live birth underwater. This reproductive strategy allowed them to remain submerged for extended periods without returning to shore, a key advantage for deep-diving species. Collectively, these adaptations forged a highly efficient predator capable of fast, sustained swimming and deep ocean hunting. Ichthyosaurs occupied diverse ecological roles, with some species adapted for coastal feeding, others for pelagic pursuits, and some specialized for deep-water ambush or scavenging. These evolutionary innovations underscore the incredible biological plasticity of ichthyosaurs, illustrating how natural selection sculpted their bodies to meet the challenges of their environment. From bone density modulation to sensory acuity, every feature contributed to an elegant harmony of form and function that made ichthyosaurs one of the ocean's ultimate prehistoric hunters. As we reflect on these astounding adaptations, picture an ichthyosaur slicing silently through the twilight depths, eyes scanning the murky sea for a glimpse of prey, muscles powering swift, precise movements. This creature was a masterpiece of natural engineering, perfectly tuned for a life where speed and sensory perception meant survival. Next, we will explore the diversity of marine reptiles beyond ichthyosaurs, focusing on groups that took different evolutionary paths, showcasing varied lifestyles and ecological strategies that enriched prehistoric oceans with an astonishing array of creatures. In the vast and mesmerizing seas of the Triassic period, not all marine giants bolted through the depths with sleek fins or powerful tails. Amidst the swiftly swimming ichthyosaurs and emerging plesiosaurs, there existed a fascinating spectrum of marine reptiles with divergent lifestyles, creatures that defied the streamlined paradigms of deep-sea hunters, yet carved out thriving niches along coastlines, lagoons, and shallow waters. Among these were the placodonts and nothosaurs, distinct groups whose unique morphologies and ecological roles add remarkable depth to our understanding of prehistoric marine life. Placodonts, whose name means plate teeth, were a truly captivating group of marine reptiles that thrived primarily during the Middle to Late Triassic. Unlike the swift, torpedo-shaped ichthyosaurs, placodonts presented robust, often heavily armored bodies reminiscent of turtles or armadillos. Their most striking feature was their specialized dentition, broad, flat teeth that formed powerful crushing plates adapted to feed on hard-shelled prey such as mollusks, brachiopods, and crustaceans. These reptiles predominantly occupied shallow marine environments, such as lagoons and coastal reefs, where shelled invertebrates abounded. Some placodonts had distinct bony plates covering their backs, providing defensive armor against predators while they grazed along the seafloor. Others had smoother, less armored bodies, but retained stout-built limbs adapted for slow swimming and walking on the substrate. The remarkable specialization of placodonts is exemplified by genera like Henodus and Siamidus. Henodus, for instance, sported a broad, flattened, shell-like body akin to a turtle, and its skull was uniquely shaped to scrape and suck small organisms or algae from the seafloor. The diversity within placodonts mirrored the variety of ecological roles available in coastal ecosystems. Some were durophagous, feeding on hard prey, while others seem to have included softer food sources. Meanwhile, nothosaurs represent an intriguing group of marine reptiles that bridged the evolutionary gap between land-dwelling reptiles and more fully aquatic forms like plesiosaurs. Emerging during the early to middle Triassic, nothosaurs were slender, elongated, and fewer armored. Their bodies harbored clear aquatic adaptations, paddle-like limbs, long necks, and tails capable of propulsion, but they retained traits suggesting semi-aquatic lifestyles. Nothosaurs were likely adept swimmers, yet remained capable of venturing onto land or shallow waters. This dual lifestyle is supported by fossil evidence showing moderately strong limb bones and a body flexible enough for terrestrial locomotion. They probably hunted fish and other small marine animals, using their long jaws filled with pointed teeth to grasp slippery prey. The ecological niche of nothosaurs is well illustrated by genera like Nothosaurus, which grew up to several meters in length. These creatures inhabited tropical shallow seas, lagoons, and reefs, relying on their swimming prowess to ambush prey, but maintaining ties to terrestrial environments. Their lifestyle highlights the evolutionary experimentation ongoing during the Triassic, a period when reptiles incrementally adapted to the challenges of aquatic life. Importantly, placodonts and nothosaurs reflect the diverse evolutionary strategies among marine reptiles. Not all the giants of ancient oceans were built for open water speed or deep diving. Instead, many thrived by specializing in benthic, coastal, and semi-aquatic niches, exploiting resources unavailable to faster, pelagic hunters. Ecologically, these differences created dynamic and varied marine habitats. Placodonts shaped the seafloor ecology through their feeding on hard-shelled organisms, influencing prey populations and sediment patterns. Nothosaurs, with their semi-aquatic habits, served as vital links between marine and terrestrial food webs, perhaps evading larger marine predators by accessing land or shallow waters. From an evolutionary standpoint, nothosaurs are particularly significant for their role as precursors to the plesiosaurs, iconic marine reptiles with elongated necks and powerful limbs that later dominated Mesozoic seas. Studying nothosaurs offers critical insight into the transition from amphibious or near-shore reptiles to fully pelagic forms. Overall, the reign of placodonts and nothosaurs in the Triassic seas adds nuance to the narrative of marine reptile evolution. Through their varied morphologies and lifestyles, they underscore evolution's capacity to explore multiple pathways, whether adapting to swift predation, armored grazing, or versatile semi-aquatic existence. Picture a tranquil coastal lagoon during the Triassic. Placodonts ambling slowly along the seafloor, crushing shellfish beneath their stout jaws, while nothosaurs glide nearby, their long necks arched in anticipation of darting fish, ready to strike with speed and precision. This rich mosaic of form and function illustrates the breadth of life in ancient seas, where not all giants had fins designed for speed, but instead thrived by mastering other ways to rule their marine domains. As our exploration continues, we will soon meet the plesiosaurs, descendants of such pioneering reptiles who refined the art of aquatic predation with long necks and powerful flippers, stepping onto the grand stage of prehistoric marine giants. As the Triassic period gave way to the Jurassic, the ancient seas witnessed the emergence of some of the most iconic marine reptiles to ever grace the oceans, the plesiosaurs. These creatures heralded a new era in marine reptile evolution, captivating imaginations with their distinct body plans, which ranged from enigmatic long-necked forms to powerful short-necked killers. The arrival of plesiosaurs was a dramatic evolutionary event that added an extraordinary diversity of hunting strategies, sizes, and morphologies to the prehistoric seas. Plesiosaurs first appeared roughly 200 million years ago during the early Jurassic and quickly diversified into multiple forms adapted for a variety of ecological niches. Despite their reptilian ancestry, plesiosaurs were fully aquatic, with bodies perfected for life in the water. Their robust, barrel-shaped bodies combined with 4 large, paddle-like flippers allowed for a distinctive mode of swimming, often described as underwater flying. Unlike the side-to-side tail propulsion of fish or ichthyosaurs, plesiosaurs moved their limbs in a coordinated, rowing motion, granting them agility and endurance during swimming. One of the most fascinating features of plesiosaurs lies in their neck length, which varied widely among species and geologic time. The long-necked plesiosaurs, often belonging to the family Elasmosauridae, had necks containing over 70 vertebrae, sometimes measuring over half their total body length. These graceful necks, which could extend several meters, are shrouded in mystery regarding their exact function. Some theories suggest that the extended neck allowed these animals to approach prey stealthily while keeping their bulky bodies at a distance, potentially enabling ambush tactics in the complex reef and lagoon environments where many lived. Long-necked plesiosaurs had relatively small heads with sharp, needle-like teeth, suited for grasping slippery prey such as small fish and cephalopods. Their slender jaws and impressive neck flexibility provided an efficient tool for plucking prey from tight spots within coral reefs or vegetation-rich areas. This hunting strategy differentiated them significantly from their short-necked cousins, illustrating the evolutionary versatility within the group. Short-necked plesiosaurs, known as pliosauroids, presented a starkly different appearance and lifestyle. Possessing large, robust skulls with powerful jaws armed with massive conical teeth, these predators resembled the streamlined hunters of later marine reptile lineages. Their shorter necks and large heads allowed for immense bite force, making them apex predators capable of targeting large prey, including fish, squid, and even other marine reptiles. Species such as Kronosaurus and Liopleurodon exemplify the pliosaur lifestyle, with lengths reaching up to 10 to 12 meters or more, and powerful limbs adapted for rapid bursts of speed and agile maneuvering through the water. Their muscular builds and formidable jaws allowed them to rival the largest marine predators, dominating the Jurassic and even into the early Cretaceous seas. Plesiosaurs as a group exhibit a fascinating combination of adaptations beyond their neck length and head size. Their sturdy ribs and broad bodies supported large lungs, essential for efficient respiration during extended dives. The limb structure suggests strong muscles that gave them endurance and speed, allowing them to hunt effectively in various marine habitats. Sensory abilities of plesiosaurs were also refined. They likely relied heavily on keen vision to detect prey and navigate underwater, while their highly developed flippers may have provided precise control over movements, enabling stealth and rapid directional changes. Fossil evidence suggests that some plesiosaurs may have had good depth perception, aiding hunting in the variable lighting conditions of coastal and open ocean waters. Reproduction, though not as well documented as in ichthyosaurs, is believed to have been viviparous in plesiosaurs as well, allowing these reptiles to spend their entire life cycles at sea without returning to land. This remarkable adaptation was crucial for their success as fully marine reptiles. Importantly, the coexistence of both long-necked and short-necked plesiosaurs in the Mesozoic oceans illustrates a remarkable case of niche partitioning, where different species evolve specialized morphologies to exploit varied food sources and habitats, reducing direct competition while maximizing survival. Imagine the Jurassic seas as scenes from a prehistoric ocean theater. Long-necked plesiosaurs weaving their serpentine necks through kelp forests or coral reefs, carefully nipping at schools of fish, while ferocious pliosaurs offer a sudden display of power, lunging with terrifying speed and precision to seize unsuspecting prey. This vivid tableau underscores the astonishing adaptability and ecological complexity of plesiosaurs. The success of plesiosaurs spanned over 135 million years, surviving multiple extinction events until the late Cretaceous, when they finally succumbed at the end of the era. Their evolutionary story provides invaluable insights into the mechanisms of adaptation, diversification, and marine ecosystem dynamics during the Mesozoic. As our exploration continues, we will dive into the tales of the mighty pliosaurs, the short-necked powerhouses whose crushing jaws and immense size made them the apex predators of their time, commanding respect and inspiring awe as true titans of the ancient oceans. As the Triassic seas gave way to the Jurassic and into the Cretaceous periods, the oceans became home to some of the most formidable marine predators ever to have lived: pliosaurs. These oceanic powerhouses reigned as apex predators, combining immense size, incredible strength, and razor-sharp teeth to dominate the ancient marine food webs. Among the most famous and imposing were giants like Kronosaurus and Liopleurodon, whose hunting prowess and ecological impact echo through the fossil record as enduring symbols of prehistoric might. Plesiosaurs belong to a subgroup of the larger plesiosaur order, distinguished by their relatively short necks and colossal heads. This body plan contrasts with their long-necked relatives and was optimized for power and burst speed, facilitating ambush hunting. Their massive skulls housed enormous jaws filled with conical, serrated teeth capable of seizing and tearing the flesh of their prey with terrifying efficiency. Kronosaurus, named after the Titan Kronos of Greek mythology, is among the most iconic pliosaurs from the early Cretaceous period, roughly 125 to 100 million years ago. Estimates place its length at up to 10 to 12 meters, with a robust skull measuring more than 2 meters long. Kronosaurus was a true leviathan of the seas, capable of hunting large marine reptiles, giant fish, and cephalopods. Its powerful bite and muscular body allowed it to crush armored prey and dominate its niche as an apex predator. Fossil evidence of Kronosaurus showcases a heavily built skeleton with strong limb girdles and enormous flippers designed for powerful strokes. This morphology enabled short bursts of high speed to ambush prey or dominate encounters with rivals. Its teeth, deeply embedded and conical, functioned like underwater daggers, piercing and holding writhing victims while the jaws delivered fatal crushing force. Liopleurodon, a pliosaur that lived earlier during the Middle to Late Jurassic, was similarly formidable, albeit with some differences. Liopleurodon could reach lengths of 6 to possibly over 10 meters, and its fossils reveal a combination of agility and strength. Some of the best-known specimens come from the famous Jurassic marine deposits of Europe, where they shared the seas with other marine reptiles and giant fish. What sets Liopleurodon apart is evidence suggesting it was a highly efficient underwater hunter, capable of both sustained swimming and deadly ambush attacks. Its skeletal structure points to a powerful tail and large flippers capable of rapid acceleration and precise maneuvering, traits crucial in the complex reef and open ocean environments it patrolled. Ecologically, pliosaurs like Kronosaurus and Liopleurodon filled the role of top-tier carnivores, similar in ecological importance to modern orcas or great white sharks. They preyed upon a wide range of organisms, including fish, ammonites, smaller marine reptiles, and occasionally other pliosaurs. Their presence structured the marine trophic dynamics, influencing prey behavior, distribution, and even driving evolutionary arms races between predator and prey. The evolutionary adaptations of these giants extended beyond sheer power. Studies of their musculoskeletal systems indicate specialized muscles for rapid lunges, enhanced sensory abilities for detecting prey over long distances underwater, and perhaps even complex behaviors involving social interactions or hunting strategies, though much remains speculative. Fossilized injuries suggest they were involved in fierce encounters, not only with prey, but sometimes with conspecific rivals, hinting at territoriality or dominance contests. This dynamic social and ecological behavior added layers to the understanding of pliosaurs as more than just solitary hunters. They were likely sophisticated participants in a balanced and competitive marine system. Importantly, the dominance of pliosaurs was not static. Through the Jurassic into the Cretaceous, different genera evolved varying sizes and specializations, reflecting changes in oceanic environments, prey availability, and competition with other marine reptiles like mosasaurs. The eventual decline of pliosaurs near the end of the Cretaceous coincided with shifts in marine ecosystems and the explosive radiation of mosasaurs, another group of powerful marine reptiles. However, the massive jaws and muscular bodies of Kronosaurus, Liopleurodon, and their kin remain emblematic of prehistoric marine predation at its apex. Visualize these colossal creatures tearing through turbulent prehistoric seas, their massive jaws clamping down on struggling prey, their powerful limbs driving rapid chases and ambushes. They were the undisputed rulers of their aquatic domains, embodiments of raw power and evolutionary success. As we proceed, we will turn our attention to other fascinating marine reptiles, such as the marine crocodylomorphs, whose unique evolutionary paths further enriched the intricate tapestry of prehistoric ocean life. As the Mesozoic seas flourished under the reign of ichthyosaurs, plesiosaurs, and pliosaurs, a less obvious yet equally fascinating group of reptiles was making its mark beneath the waves: the marine crocodylomorphs. Among these aquatic reptiles, the metriorhynchids stand out as remarkable examples of evolutionary innovation, adapting terrestrial crocodile ancestors into efficient oceanic hunters. Their story enriches our understanding of the diverse strategies marine reptiles employed to exploit the ancient oceans and survive amid fierce competition. Crocodylomorphs, the larger clade that includes modern crocodiles and their extinct relatives, first arose in the late Triassic as primarily terrestrial animals. Over time, several lineages independently adapted to aquatic environments, with metriorhynchids representing the most specialized fully marine forms. Unlike their semi-aquatic modern crocodile cousins, which retain sprawling limbs and armored skin designed for life near water but often reliant on land, metriorhynchids evolved a suite of adaptations akin to those seen in ichthyosaurs and plesiosaurs, reflecting convergent evolution driven by shared aquatic lifestyles. Living roughly from the Middle Jurassic through to the early Cretaceous, metriorhynchids were streamlined marine reptiles, typically measuring between 2 and 5 meters long, though some species may have approached lengths comparable to large modern crocodilians. Their bodies were covered not with heavy armor, but with smooth, scaleless skin, more akin to that of dolphins. This reduction of osteoderms, the bony plates characteristic of terrestrial crocodilians, was an adaptation to improve hydrodynamics and reduce weight for more efficient swimming. One of the most striking features of metriorhynchids was their limbs, which had evolved fully into flippers suited for propulsion in open water, replacing the sprawling legs of their land-bound ancestors. Their long, powerful tails ended in a vertical, shark-like fin, supported by an extended tail vertebrae, providing thrust for rapid swimming. This tail morphology parallels that of many modern aquatic vertebrates, illustrating nature's repeated solutions for life in water. Their skulls were elongated with narrow, pointed jaws filled with sharp, conical teeth, ideal for grasping slippery prey like fish and cephalopods. Unlike some marine reptiles with crushing dentition, metriorhynchids were primarily piscivorous hunters, relying on speed and agility rather than brute crushing force. Sensory adaptations likely included well-developed eyes and possibly specialized ear structures, allowing effective underwater hearing, enabling them to detect prey and navigate murky coastal waters. While soft tissue preservation is rare, their overall anatomy and comparison to close relatives suggest strong swimming muscles and excellent maneuverability. Metriorhynchids occupied a niche similar to modern dolphins or small sharks, combining speed with ambush tactics. They were less bulky than pliosaurs, but equally adept hunters, filling mid to large predator roles within Jurassic and early Cretaceous marine ecosystems. They likely competed with early sharks and smaller marine reptiles, but carved out a successful evolutionary branch nonetheless. Interestingly, some other marine crocodylomorphs retained more primitive features and led semi-aquatic lifestyles, often inhabiting estuaries, rivers, or near-shore environments. These included members of the Teleosauridae, which resembled modern gharials with long, narrow snouts, suited for snatching fish but limited in open water swimming. Their fossil remains often indicate ambush predation in shallow waters, contrasting with the pelagic lifestyle of metriorhynchids. The diversification of marine crocodylomorphs highlights the evolutionary plasticity of crocodile relatives. From heavily armored, sprawling limbed forms to sleek, flippered swimmers, these animals exemplify how vertebrates repeatedly adapted to life in the ocean in parallel and convergent fashions. Despite their evolutionary success, marine crocodylomorphs eventually declined alongside the shifting marine fauna of the Cretaceous, unable to compete fully with the burgeoning mosasaurs and other marine reptiles. Nevertheless, their lineage leaves a fascinating legacy, a testament to nature's ingenuity in transforming terrestrial reptiles into masters of the marine realm. Picture a swift metriorhynchid gliding silently through Jurassic coastal waters, its unarmored, sleek body slicing through waves as it closes in on a school of fish. Nearby, a teleosaurid lurks motionless in murky shallows, jaws poised to snap at unwary prey. These diverse crocodylomorphs paint a vivid portrait of adaptability and specialization amid the chaotic and perilous ecosystems of prehistoric oceans. Our next journey will bring us to the towering mosasaurs of the late Cretaceous, monsters of a later age who would carry the torch of oceanic dominance forward, reshaping marine ecosystems just before the Great Extinction at the end of the Mesozoic. As the Cretaceous period unfolded, roughly between 100 and 66 million years ago, the seas were dominated by a new breed of marine reptiles whose power and ferocity earned them the title of the ultimate rulers of their realm, the mosasaurs. These formidable predators represent an extraordinary chapter in the history of marine life, rising with remarkable success to dominate the late Cretaceous oceans just before the dramatic close of the Mesozoic. Their anatomy, behavior, and ecological role paint a vivid picture of prehistoric oceanic supremacy. Mosasaurs are large, carnivorous lizards that evolved from terrestrial varanoid ancestors, relatives of modern monitor lizards and snakes, making their remarkable transition back into the marine environment in the early Cretaceous. Over time, natural selection sculpted their forms into perfect marine predators. They grew to immense sizes, with some species like Mosasaurus hoffmanii reaching lengths exceeding 15 meters, comparable to modern killer whales, and displaying the sheer power of apex predators. Their bodies were elongated and streamlined, equipped with robust paddle-like limbs adapted as flippers for swimming. Unlike ichthyosaurs or plesiosaurs, mosasaurs propelled themselves primarily with their powerful tails, which bore vertical flukes, enabling swift bursts of speed for chasing prey. Their skulls were massive and heavily built, armed with conical, razor-sharp teeth arranged in multiple rows, ideal for grasping and slicing through the flesh of fish, cephalopods, turtles, and even other marine reptiles. The jaws of mosasaurs were remarkably flexible, with hinged skull joints allowing them to open their mouths wide and swallow large prey, much like modern snakes. This feeding adaptation, combined with their sizable body mass, made mosasaurs fearsome hunters with the ability to tackle a diverse range of prey across the marine food web. Physiologically, mosasaurs were air-breathing reptiles, surfacing periodically to breathe, but they were well adapted for life entirely in the water, giving birth to live young and possessing salt glands to manage their saline environment. Their sensory capabilities likely included sharp vision and acute smell, essential for detecting prey in the ocean's varying light and chemical conditions. During the late Cretaceous, mosasaurs diversified into numerous genera, each adapted to different ecological niches. Some were specialized deep-water hunters, while others patrolled coastal shallows. Their widespread fossils, found on every continent except Antarctica, attest to their success and adaptability. Where they roamed, mosasaurs were the apex predators, controlling populations of large fish, ammonites, turtles, and smaller marine reptiles, reshaping the marine ecosystems. Ecological interactions between mosasaurs and other marine reptiles were complex. They competed with pliosaurs, which were nearing the end of their reign, and with giant sharks like Cratoxyrina, a formidable predator in its own right. Mosasaurs' evolutionary innovations gave them an edge, allowing them to fill rapidly vacated niches and thrive up to the very end of the Mesozoic. Their extinction coincided with the catastrophic Cretaceous-Paleogene event approximately 66 million years ago, which wiped out an estimated 75% of all species, including non-avian dinosaurs and many marine vertebrates. Despite their disappearance, mosasaurs left a lasting legacy, influencing the evolution of subsequent marine predators. To imagine a mosasaur in life is to picture a powerful hunter gliding beneath tropical Cretaceous seas, eyes fixed on a darting fish or a prehistoric turtle, tail propelling it forward with sudden speed as rows of teeth prepare to secure the kill. They embodied the peak of marine reptilian predation, masters of ancient waves before the curtain fell on the age of reptiles. As we shall next discover, alongside these giants went the rise of other fascinating marine giants, including enormous turtles whose hard shells added yet another layer to the complex fabric of prehistoric ocean life. As we peer into the ancient oceans of the late Cretaceous, a time when mosasaurs patrolled the seas and pliosaurs had long since vanished, we encounter another extraordinary group of marine reptiles that achieved an impressive status among prehistoric giants: the giant sea turtles, notably exemplified by Archelon and the family Protostygeidae. These massive, slow-moving behemoths redefined the concept of aquatic turtles, showcasing exceptional adaptations that allowed them to thrive in marine environments and captivate paleontologists and enthusiasts alike. The rise of giant sea turtles is rooted in the evolutionary history of testudines, the broader order of turtles and tortoises. While aquatic turtles have a deep lineage extending back to the Triassic, the formidable size and full marine adaptations seen in the late Cretaceous were evolutionary marvels that allowed these creatures to occupy distinct ecological roles. Unlike their smaller freshwater or coastal relatives, giant sea turtles evolved streamlined bodies, powerful flippers, and widespread oceanic ranges reminiscent of modern sea turtles, but on a staggering scale. At the forefront of this group is Archelon, which lived approximately 75 million years ago. Archelon was an enormous marine turtle measuring up to 4 meters, over 13 feet, in length and weighing close to 2,000 kilograms, over 4,400 pounds. Its shell, while broad and protective, was relatively thin and leathery compared to the thick, bony shells common in many other turtles. This lightweight construction enhanced buoyancy and swimming efficiency, a crucial adaptation for long-distance oceanic life. Unlike modern leatherback turtles, to which it is often compared, Archelon had a massive beak and jaws adapted for crushing, suggesting a varied diet that might have included hard-shelled mollusks, crustaceans, and jellyfish. Its powerful flippers enabled it to traverse great distances in the vast shallow seas that covered much of what is now North America. Archelon's skull and limb anatomy reveal strong swimming capabilities. Its paddle-like limbs, with elongated bones and flattened shapes, provided propulsion and maneuverability in the open ocean. Fossil tracks and remains suggest these giants nested on coastal beaches, similar to modern sea turtles. But their immense size and marine adaptations made them some of the most imposing reptiles of the Cretaceous seas. Closely related to Archelon were other members of the Protostegidae family, a diverse group of giant marine turtles characterized by their often reduced carapace thickness and large size. Protostegids first appeared in the early Cretaceous and persisted until the mass extinction event at the end of the period. This family includes genera like Protostega and Notochelone, which exhibited a range of sizes and morphologies, some growing nearly as large as Archelon, with specialized shells and paddle designs. Protostegids were among the first turtles to develop extensive marine lifestyles, with adaptations for deep diving and long-distance swimming that rivaled some advanced marine reptiles. The reduced ossification of their shells, a somewhat counterintuitive trait from a protective standpoint, seemingly allowed greater flexibility and a lighter frame, aiding their aquatic mobility. Ecologically, these giant turtles filled niches primarily as slow but efficient grazers and predators of benthic invertebrates. Their feeding strategies likely involved crushing hard-shelled prey, with their beaks and jaws demonstrating a remarkable power and precision. Despite their size and strength, these turtles were vulnerable to predation, especially when young, by other marine reptiles and large sharks. The rise of giant turtles like Archelon and the Protostegids is not only a tale of size but of evolutionary innovation, highlighting the convergent strategies seen in marine reptiles and mammals alike. Trading heavy armor for speed and range, developing specialized limbs for oceanic navigation, and balancing the competing demands of protection and mobility. Their fossils, often beautifully preserved in marine sediments across North America, Europe, and other regions, offer a window into the marine ecosystems of the late Cretaceous, illustrating how these giant turtles coexisted alongside mosasaurs, large fish, and diverse invertebrate communities. Imagining a vast Cretaceous seascape, one envisions an Archelon gracefully cruising beneath the surface, its enormous flippers guiding its slowed but steady passage over the reef-lined ocean floors, grazing or hunting with patience and power. Nearby, smaller protostegids dart through the kelp and corals, contributing to the rich underwater community mosaic. As we continue our exploration, We will next delve into the intriguing world of sea snakes and marine lizards, groups that expanded the diversity of marine reptiles with different evolutionary solutions, embracing both aquatic and amphibious lifestyles in the ever-changing ancient seas. As the Mesozoic seas shimmered with titanic reptiles like plesiosaurs, mosasaurs, and giant turtles, a lesser-known but equally fascinating group of marine reptiles also thrived. The sea snakes and marine lizards, primarily represented by the ichthyosaurs and dolichosaurs. These creatures highlight another incredible chapter of evolutionary innovation, showcasing diverse strategies for marine life that expanded the tapestry of ancient oceanic ecosystems. Ichthyosaurs, often referred to as marine snakes, were elongated, highly flexible reptiles that evolved from terrestrial lizard-like ancestors during the late Cretaceous period. Their bodies were exceedingly slender and snake-like, lacking limbs or possessing greatly reduced ones, an adaptation that allowed for serpentine swimming through complex marine environments such as shallow coastal waters, reefs, and lagoons. Their streamlined build enabled them to slip effortlessly through the water and crevices, hunting smaller prey with remarkable agility. Fossil evidence reveals that ichthyosaurs had sharp, recurved teeth perfect for grasping slippery prey like fish and cephalopods. Their skull and jaw structures suggest they could open their mouths wide, swallowing prey whole or in large chunks, similar to modern snakes. This group represents one of the earliest marine reptiles to showcase limb reduction as a specialization for aquatic locomotion, a trend that would later be mirrored in marine snakes of the present day. While ichthyosaurs were predominantly marine, related dolichosaurs occupied a slightly different niche. Dolichosaurs were elongated, lizard-like marine reptiles with more developed limbs compared to ichthyosaurs, allowing for a combination of swimming and crawling abilities. Their morphology reflected a semi-aquatic or amphibious lifestyle, frequenting both coastal marine habitats and possibly brackish or freshwater environments. Dolichosaurs appeared in the late Cretaceous and are considered close relatives to mosasaurs, sharing many anatomical characteristics, suggesting an evolutionary link between smaller, more agile marine reptiles and the later massive mosasaurs. They retained a greater degree of terrestrial adaptation, including relatively well-developed limbs and partial pigmentation patterns indicating possible sun exposure at times. The adaptation strategies of both ichthyosaurs and dolichosaurs reveal elegant solutions to life in the water. Ichthyosaurs sacrificed limbs for undulatory swimming, thriving in ecological niches where flexibility and stealth were paramount. Dolichosaurs balanced swimming with limb support, perhaps traversing shoreline environments or preying in shallow waters. Ecologically, these reptiles were likely important mid-level predators. Their size and hunting methods allowed them to prey on small fish, invertebrates, and young marine creatures, while likely avoiding competition with larger apex predators like mosasaurs. Their existence added complexity to the late Cretaceous marine food webs, influencing trophic dynamics and community structures. Beyond their ecological roles, these reptiles shed light on the broader evolutionary patterns of marine adaptation. The convergent evolution seen in limb reduction among ichthyosaurs and other marine reptiles, and later in marine mammals like whales, illustrates how evolutionary pressures shape anatomy for efficient aquatic life across diverse lineages. Visualizing these animals, one might imagine an ichthyosaur weaving gracefully through coral reefs, its slender body undulating as it searches for prey, while a dolichosaur glides lazily near the shoreline, its limbs paddling with occasional touches on land or shallow substrates. Their fluid movements and varied lifestyles stand as testament to life's extraordinary adaptability and its myriad pathways into the sea. As we continue, we will explore the intricate ecology of ancient oceans, delving into food webs and predator-prey dynamics that defined the interactions among these fascinating creatures and countless others, revealing the interconnectedness that made prehistoric marine ecosystems vibrant and resilient. The ecology of ancient oceans unfolds as a complex, interconnected web of life, an intricate dance of predators, prey, scavengers, and symbionts that shaped the balance of prehistoric marine ecosystems. Understanding the food webs and predator-prey dynamics of these ancient seas offers us a window into the evolutionary pressures, behavioral strategies, and adaptations that defined life beneath the waves throughout Earth's deep past. At the heart of marine ecology lies the flow of energy, from the smallest photosynthetic organisms capturing the sun's energy to gigantic predators at the top of the food pyramid. The foundation of most ancient oceans began with microscopic phytoplankton and algae, which, through photosynthesis, converted sunlight into organic material. This autotrophic base supported vast populations of zooplankton and other tiny filter feeders, forming the critical first link in the food chain. Moving upwards, a plethora of invertebrates such as brachiopods, mollusks, echinoderms, and early arthropods grazed, filtered, or scavenged, consuming organic particles and smaller organisms. Their activities not only fueled higher trophic levels, but also influenced sediment composition and nutrient cycling, shaping habitats for many marine species. With the rise of jawed vertebrates during the Silurian and Devonian periods, predation became a dominant force in structuring marine ecosystems. Early fishes, some armored like placoderms, introduced new hunting strategies with improved mobility and biting power. This sparked an evolutionary arms race. Prey species evolved shells, spines, and behaviors to evade predators, while predators refined speed, sensory capabilities, and specialized feeding apparatus. As vertebrates increasingly diversified, the late Paleozoic and Mesozoic oceans saw the emergence of formidable marine reptiles, sharks, and large predatory fish. Marine reptiles such as ichthyosaurs, plesiosaurs, and mosasaurs occupied apex predator roles, influencing prey populations and the behavior of other marine organisms. Their predatory habits ranged from fast pursuit to ambush tactics, driving adaptations in prey like schooling behaviors, camouflage, and armored defenses. Predator-prey dynamics were far from static. They involved complex feedback loops. For example, heavy predation pressure could lead to shifts in prey biodiversity, favoring species with effective defense mechanisms or rapid reproduction. Conversely, the availability of prey influenced predator populations, their size, reproductive rates, and hunting ranges. Symbiotic relationships also added layers of complexity. Some smaller organisms engaged in cleaning behaviors, removing parasites from larger marine reptiles or fish, while others formed mutualistic associations with corals and sponges, creating habitats and enhancing biodiversity. Interestingly, ancient oceans hosted a variety of feeding strategies beyond the simple predator-prey binary. Filter feeding became an increasingly significant ecological niche, with giants like Leedsichthys and giant ammonites filtering enormous quantities of plankton, linking the base of the food web directly to massive vertebrate consumers. Moreover, ecological niches extended vertically through the water column. From shallow reefs and coastal environments to pelagic deep waters, each hosting distinct communities and food webs. Vertical migration of plankton and fish created time and space variations in resource availability, influencing the behaviors and adaptations of predators and prey alike. Mass extinctions periodically disrupted these ecological webs, causing upheaval and reorganization of marine life. Such events reshaped predator-prey relationships, sometimes resulting in ecological release that allowed new species to flourish and fill vacated niches. The fossil record, preserved in sediments across the world, reveals direct and indirect evidence of these dynamics. Bite marks on bones and shells, stomach contents fossilized in spectacular detail, coprolites, fossilized feces, analyzing diets, and trace fossils showing predation scars or escape movements. These clues enable paleontologists to reconstruct ancient food webs and understand the intricate balances that sustained marine ecosystems. In contemplating the ecology of ancient oceans, we glimpse a vibrant, dynamic biosphere where life in all its forms adapted, competed, cooperated, and persisted for hundreds of millions of years. As we continue our exploration, we will meet the supersharks, gigantic filter feeders, coiled cephalopods, and other fascinating inhabitants of these deep-time seas, each contributing uniquely to this grand ecological drama. As we journey deeper into the prehistoric marine world, we must pay homage to one of the most iconic and awe-inspiring groups of ancient ocean predators, the sharks. From the modest early forms such as Hybidus to the colossal and legendary Megalodon, these formidable fish played a crucial role as apex predators throughout millions of years of Earth's history. Their enormous success is a testament to their adaptability, predatory innovations, and dominance in marine ecosystems. The story begins with Hybidus, a genus of shark-like fish that lived from the late Paleozoic into the Mesozoic, spanning approximately 270 to 100 million years ago. Though not as large or terrifying as later sharks, Hybidus represented a key step in shark evolution. Measuring between 1 to 2 meters in length, it was relatively small by today's standards, but boasted sharp teeth adapted for grasping a wide variety of prey, including hard-shelled invertebrates and small fish. Hybidus displayed remarkable dental diversity, with different teeth suited for crushing and slicing, which suggests a versatile diet and trophic adaptability. This dental specialization allowed it to exploit a variety of environmental niches, making it one of the most widespread shark genera of the Mesozoic seas. Hybidus's strong, flexible body and paired fins allowed it to be a swift and agile predator, adept at navigating the complex reef and coastal ecosystems of the time. Jumping ahead millions of years, sharks evolved into colossal forms that captured imaginations and shaped marine food chains like no others. Megalodon stands as the quintessential giant among prehistoric sharks. Existing approximately between 23 and 3.6 million years ago during the Neogene period, Megalodon, scientifically known as Otodus megalodon, was among the largest and most powerful predators ever to cruise Earth's oceans. Estimates based on fossilized teeth and vertebrae place Megalodon's length at an astonishing 15 to 18 meters, or possibly even larger, rivaling today's largest whales. Its jaws, lined with robust serrated teeth over 18 centimeters long, were capable of exerting one of the strongest bite forces known, easily capable of crushing the bones of large marine mammals, including early whales and giant sea turtles. The anatomy of Megalodon reveals a streamlined, torpedo-shaped body optimized for powerful bursts of speed to ambush and capture large prey. Its massive size both deterred competitors and allowed predation on enormous creatures, asserting its role at the very pinnacle of marine food webs. Megalodon's hunting strategies likely involved surprise attacks from below or behind, delivering devastating bites followed by rapid disengagement, allowing it to subdue prey much larger than itself. Such tactics required a highly developed sensory system, including excellent olfaction and lateral lines capable of detecting movement and vibrations in water. The evolutionary lineage of Megalodon traces back to the Cretaceous, with its ancestors evolving through successive stages of increasing size and ecological dominance. The genus Carcharicles, which Megalodon belongs to, represents the apex of this evolutionary trend toward gigantism among sharks. The eventual extinction of Megalodon aligns with significant shifts in oceanic ecosystems, including cooling trends, changing prey availability, and competition from emerging marine mammals such as orcas and large-toothed whales. Still, its legacy as an unmatched predator remains unmatched. Between Hybidus and Megalodon, the shark lineage boasts a fascinating saga of evolutionary innovation, developing complex teeth for diversified diets, honing hydrodynamic body shapes, and cultivating sensory organs for hunting in varied aquatic environments. Envision the primeval seas where Hybidus patrolled coastal reefs, darting swiftly among coral and rocky crevices, and imagine casting your gaze to the vast open oceans where a gigantic megalodon silently stalked its prey, a living embodiment of prehistoric power and precision. As we continue, we will explore another form of marine gigantism, the rise of gigantic filter feeders like Leedsichthys, whose immense sizes and feeding strategies offered a different approach to life in the ancient oceans, filtering vast amounts of plankton and shaping marine ecosystems in profound ways. In the boundless ancient oceans, while predators like sharks and marine reptiles seized the imagination as fearsome hunters, there existed another group of marine giants whose lives centered around an entirely different ecological strategy: filter feeding. These gigantic filter feeders, represented by extraordinary fish such as Leedsichthys, were pivotal inhabitants of prehistoric seas and exemplify nature's diverse approaches to gigantism and survival. Leedsichthys, which lived during the Middle Jurassic period approximately 165 million years ago, stands as one of the largest bony fish to have ever existed. Estimates of its size, though somewhat uncertain due to incomplete fossils, suggest an astonishing length of up to 16 meters or more, making it a true colossus roaming the ancient waters. The immense scale of Leedsichthys not only astounds scientists, but also challenges modern perceptions of fish size and ecological roles. Unlike its carnivorous contemporaries, Leedsichthys was a filter feeder, a gentle giant that swept vast volumes of water through a specialized filtering apparatus to capture microscopic plankton, tiny crustaceans, and other suspended organic matter. Its jaw and gill raker structures were adapted to strain and trap food efficiently, allowing it to subsist on some of the ocean's most abundant resources. This feeding strategy closely parallels modern-day whale sharks and basking sharks, mammals and fish that utilize filtration to consume vast quantities of small prey, highlighting convergent evolution across widely divergent taxa. The success of Leedsichthys underscores how size can be advantageous even in non-predatory ecological niches, where energy efficiency and the ability to process large volumes of food are crucial. Leedsichthys inhabited the warm, productive seas that covered large parts of the Jurassic Earth. Its large size enabled it to travel long distances, exploiting seasonal blooms of plankton and ensuring access to nutrient-rich waters. This mobility, paired with a slow cruising pace, defined its ecological lifestyle. Its skeletal remains, discovered primarily in Europe, reveal a fish with a robust skull, massive pectoral fins, and a strong yet flexible body designed to support enormous bulk. Despite its size, it lacked the speed and predatory prowess of sharks or marine reptiles, but instead relied on its filtering ability and size to avoid predation. Leedsichthys was part of a diverse assemblage of giant filter-feeding fish during the Jurassic and Cretaceous periods. Other gigantic bony fish also employed similar feeding strategies, displaying a variety of adaptations such as elongated gill rakers, flattened bodies for stability, and enhanced sensory organs for navigating plankton-rich waters. Beyond filter feeders, the oceans featured enormous predators and opportunistic feeders coexisting within complex ecosystems. These large fish influenced nutrient cycling and energy flow, serving as prey for the largest marine reptiles or scavengers once deceased, contributing to the deep ocean carbon cycle. The rise of such gigantic filter feeders marks an important ecological trend: the exploitation of the vast base of the marine food chain, the microscopic plankton, which represents some of the most abundant life on Earth. By efficiently converting tiny organisms into muscular giants, species like Leedsichthys played a vital role in balancing ecosystems and fostering biodiversity. Imagine the tranquil Jurassic waters where Leedsichthys filters silently through plankton blooms, its mouth open wide as it gracefully moves, dwarfed perhaps only by the shadows of gigantic plesiosaurs or mosasaurs nearby. Such scenes encapsulate the serene power of filter feeders, giants of the sea whose lives revolved not around hunting, but around harvesting the microscopic pulse of life itself. In our continuing journey, we will next explore the captivating world of ammonites and coiled cephalopods, whose intricate shells and diverse forms are not only fascinating paleontological subjects, but also key players in these rich marine ecosystems. Ammonites and their cephalopod cousins are some of the most fascinating and iconic inhabitants of ancient marine ecosystems, their coiled shells decorating fossil beds across the world and captivating scientific and popular imaginations alike. To understand the resilience and ecological importance of these creatures, one must delve into the evolution, diversity, and survival strategies of ammonites and coiled cephalopods, a story that extends from the Paleozoic through the end of the Cretaceous, and whose legacy still whispers through the seas today. Ammonites belonged to the subclass Ammonoidea, a group of extinct marine mollusks closely related to modern squid, octopuses, and cuttlefish. Their hallmark was their external coiled shell, an intricately structured chambered spiral whose design not only offered protection but also buoyancy control through a sophisticated system of gas-filled chambers. This allowed ammonites to navigate different depths and manage energy consumption during swimming. These shells often display remarkable geometric complexity, with intricate suture patterns. The lines where internal walls called septa meet the outer shell, that range from simple undulating curves to extraordinarily complex fractal-like designs. Scientists have long studied these patterns not only to classify different species, but also to infer the mechanical strength and potential hydrodynamic properties of shells. Ammonites thrived in diverse marine environments, from shallow reefs and coastal lagoons to deep ocean basins. Their sizes varied widely, from a few centimeters to species reaching over 2 meters in diameter. This size diversity corresponded to different ecological roles, from nimble hunters preying on small crustaceans and fish larvae to larger species capable of tackling bigger prey. An evolutionary masterstroke of ammonites was their high reproductive rate, producing numerous small offspring that increased the likelihood of survival despite predation pressures. Their rapid evolution led to abundant species diversity, allowing them to adapt effectively to shifting marine conditions through the Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous periods. The survival strategies of ammonites hinged not only on their protective shells, but also on their predatory lifestyle. They were active swimmers, using jet propulsion by forcefully expelling water through a funnel-like siphon, a locomotion method they share with today's squid and octopuses. Their eyes and tentacles, while not often preserved in fossils, played critical roles in detecting prey and navigating their environment. Coiled cephalopods evolved alongside ammonites, including groups like the nautiloids, which sported simpler, less densely coiled shells, but survived into the modern era with the living nautilus. These relatives shared many ecological traits with ammonites, but often represent more conservative evolutionary designs. Ammonites held a vital place in marine food webs. They served both as predators and prey, Larger marine reptiles and fish hunted ammonites, sometimes evidenced by bite marks on fossil shells. Yet ammonites' rapid reproduction and wide dispersal enabled populations to rebound from predation and environmental stresses. Their evolutionary story, however, came to a dramatic close at the Cretaceous-Paleogene mass extinction, approximately 66 million years ago. Despite surviving numerous earlier extinction events, ammonites vanished alongside many marine and terrestrial groups, likely due to rapid environmental changes and the collapse of marine food chains. The enduring fascination with ammonites arises from their perfect fusion of art and science. The beautiful mathematical spirals, complex suture designs, and the narrative of survival they embody. These fossilized jewels are markers of geological time, helping scientists date and correlate sedimentary rock layers globally. Imagining the prehistoric oceans, one can envision ammonites gliding gently through the twilight waters, their coiled shells reflecting dappled sunlight as tentacles reach to seize unsuspecting crustaceans. Their unique adaptations allowed them to thrive in a myriad of environments for hundreds of millions of years, composing an essential chorus in the ancient marine symphony. As we continue, we will explore how the shifting climates, continental drift, and changing sea levels of deep time shaped the lives and sizes of ocean giants, further illuminating the complex interplay between Earth's physical processes and biological evolution. Throughout Earth's vast geological history, the changing climate and movements of continents have wielded profound influence over the evolution and distribution of marine life, particularly shaping the emergence and gigantism of prehistoric oceanic creatures. The interplay between continental drift, sea level fluctuations, and climate shifts crafted dynamic marine environments, setting the stage for the rise and sometimes fall of the ocean's ancient giants. From the Paleozoic through the Mesozoic and into the Cenozoic eras, Earth's continents have continually shifted due to plate tectonics. These massive land masses collided, fragmented, and rearranged over millions of years, altering ocean basins, currents, and climate patterns in ways that directly affected marine ecosystems. One of the critical outcomes of continental drift was the formation and breakup of supercontinents, such as Pangaea, during the late Paleozoic and early Mesozoic. When Pangaea assembled, vast inland seas shrank, and ocean circulation patterns became restricted, leading to climate homogenization and extinctions in some marine groups due to habitat loss. Conversely, the breakup of Pangaea opened new seaways and expanded continental shelf areas, increasing shallow marine habitats that are typically rich in biodiversity and productivity. These newly formed environments provided many niches where marine giants could evolve and thrive. Sea level fluctuations were equally influential. Over hundreds of millions of years, global sea levels rose and fell dramatically due to changing tectonic activity, glaciation cycles, and climatic variations. High sea levels flooded continental margins, creating expansive epicontinental seas with warm, shallow waters favorable for prolific marine life. These conditions supported the growth of extensive coral reefs, seagrass meadows, and plankton blooms, key foundations for rich food webs. Such nutrient-rich habitats allowed early vertebrates and marine reptiles to access abundant food resources, facilitating evolutionary trends towards larger body sizes. The expansive seaways also enabled species dispersal and gene flow, promoting diversification and the rapid evolutionary radiation of groups like plesiosaurs, ichthyosaurs, and mosasaurs. Conversely, periods of sea level regression, when oceans receded and shallow seas contracted, often led to habitat fragmentation and extinctions. These stresses prompted both turnover and opportunity, allowing some groups to adapt or migrate while others perished, leaving evolutionary space for newcomers and diversified forms. Climate shifts, from greenhouse episodes with high global temperatures to colder intervals marked by icehouse conditions, further modulated marine life. Warmer climates generally expanded tropical and subtropical marine realms, expanding habitats for many ocean giants, while cooling periods shifted currents and ecosystems poleward, forcing organisms into new regions or driving extinctions. Oceanic circulation patterns, strongly influenced by continental configurations and climate, controlled nutrient distribution and temperature gradients. These in turn shaped where planktonic populations flourished, affecting the food resources available to immense filter feeders like Leedsichthys and the habitats suited to large predators such as mosasaurs and giant sharks. An illustrative example comes from the late Cretaceous, where high sea levels created the western interior seaway across North America, a vast marine corridor supporting a wealth of marine reptiles, giant turtles, and massive fish species. This sea provided a unique environment fostering gigantism and biodiversity that has been preserved in fossil-rich formations. The shifting configuration of continents also affected migratory routes and population isolation. Such geographic changes led to allopatric speciation, encouraging the evolution of novel forms and the emergence of regionally distinct marine giants. For instance, the distribution patterns of giant shark fossils and marine reptile remains reveal how continental drift influenced their dispersal and evolutionary pathways. In sum, the synergy between continental movements, sea level changes, and climate oscillations fundamentally sculpted the ebbs and flows of ancient ocean ecosystems. These planetary-scale forces established the environmental stage where marine giants arose, evolved, and sometimes faced decline. Envision a prehistoric ocean where shifting continents carve vast corridors and shallow basins, their waters warming and cooling as volcanic activity and polar ice sway global climate. Within these waters, evolutionary narratives unfurl. Colossal turtles ferrying across flooded shores, massive filter feeder fish sweeping nutrient-rich currents, and fierce marine reptiles guarding their territories. Each adaptation and diversification echoes the Earth's restless transformation beneath and above the waves. As we proceed, the following chapters will examine the effects of mass extinctions on these giants and how fossilization reveals the secrets of extinct ocean titans, leading ultimately to the reflections of ancient power in modern marine species and the human stories intertwined with them. Across the sweeping eons of Earth's history, mass extinctions have acted as both devastating endings and powerful catalysts for renewal, shaping the trajectory of life with profound influence. Nowhere is this duality more apparent than in the ancient oceans, where catastrophic events extinguished myriad marine species, including many of the giants that once ruled the seas, while simultaneously opening ecological niches that sparked new radiations and evolutionary innovations. The story of marine megafauna is interwoven with some of the most significant mass extinction events recorded, from the late Paleozoic through the Mesozoic and beyond. These extinction pulses not only reshaped species diversity, but reconfigured marine ecosystems, predator-prey dynamics, and the evolutionary pathways of life itself. One of the earliest and most severe was the Permian-Triassic extinction, approximately 252 million years ago. Often called the Great Dying, this event eradicated up to 96% of marine species, including many early marine vertebrates, invertebrates, and reef-building organisms. It dramatically altered ecological structures, wiping out dominant groups such as placoderms, ancient corals, and numerous benthic species. This extinction paved the way for the rise of new vertebrate groups, including marine reptiles, that would later dominate Mesozoic oceans. Moving forward, The late Devonian extinction events also impacted marine communities, selectively targeting coral reefs and certain fish groups. Such episodes coincided with environmental disturbances like anoxic ocean conditions and glaciations, which constricted habitats and resources. The Triassic-Jurassic extinction, around 201 million years ago, further disrupted marine faunas, coinciding with volcanic activity and global climatic upheavals. This event saw a turnover in several marine invertebrates and the decline of many older reptilian lineages, making room for the spectacular proliferation of ichthyosaurs, plesiosaurs, and early mosasaurs. Perhaps most famous is the Cretaceous Paleogene, KPG extinction approximately 66 million years ago, which famously ended the reign of non-avian dinosaurs, but also led to significant marine depopulation. Marine reptiles such as mosasaurs and plesiosaurs vanished, ammonites disappeared forever, and numerous fish families suffered dramatic losses. This global catastrophe was likely triggered by a massive asteroid impact coupled with volcanic eruptions and climate volatility. Each extinction event created a ripple effect, extirpating species, reshaping food webs, and resetting evolutionary clocks. Marine megafauna, by their size and ecological prominence, were particularly vulnerable to shifts in food availability, habitat alterations, and reproductive bottlenecks. Yet these events also forged periods of recovery and diversification. For instance, after the Permian-Triassic extinction, marine reptiles rapidly evolved into many new forms, illustrating resilience and innovation. Following the KPG extinction, mammals and modern fish groups radiated, filling vacated niches, while some lineages of sharks and sea turtles persevered and evolved into today's forms. Fossil evidence captures the pulse of these transitions: sudden disappearances in rock strata, signs of ecosystem collapse, and later the emergence of novel species. These biochemical and geological clues continue to inform scientists about the timing, scale, and impact of mass extinctions on marine life. The story of mass extinctions underscores the fragility and tenacity of marine ecosystems. It reminds us that the ocean's giants, as majestic and mighty as they were, existed within a constantly changing world where survival demanded adaptation, and extinction was an ever-present threat. As we continue, we will venture into the mysterious realm of fossilization and exceptional finds, uncovering how remnants of these ancient ocean titans have survived the ravages of time to tell their stories. Stories still echoing from the deepest, darkest reaches of Earth's history. The vast expanse of Earth's oceans, especially in ancient times, was home to countless creatures whose lives, behaviors, and even deaths have been lost to time. Yet, thanks to the remarkable processes of fossilization, we today glimpse fragments of these long-lost beings, fossils that serve as portals to the past, revealing the mysteries of prehistoric ocean giants. This chapter explores the phenomena of fossil preservation, exceptional fossil finds, and the lingering enigmas that continue to challenge paleontologists, inviting us into the deep, shadowed history of marine life. Fossilization, the process by which organic remains are preserved in rock, is a rare event requiring a precise combination of circumstances. For marine creatures, rapid burial in sediment, low oxygen levels to reduce decay and scavenging, and mineral-rich waters aid in the preservation of bones, shells, and in some cases, soft tissues. But even under ideal conditions, the fossil record is inherently incomplete, leaving many marine giants as ghosts of the deep, known only through scant remains or indirect evidence. Some fossils offer spectacular windows into prehistoric life due to exceptional preservation. These include Lagerstätten, sedimentary deposits that preserve organisms with fine detail, including soft tissues rarely fossilized elsewhere. For example, the Solnhofen limestone of Germany and the Santana Formation of Brazil have yielded exquisite marine fossils, capturing delicate structures such as skin impressions, gut contents, and, in rare instances, coloration patterns. Such finds deepen our understanding of anatomy, behavior, and even physiology. One of paleontology's greatest triumphs is the discovery of baby ichthyosaurs, plesiosaurs with embryos inside, revealing reproductive strategies like live birth, a profound insight into marine reptile biology. Similarly, stomach contents preserved within fossils provide direct evidence of diets and prey choices, illuminating ancient food webs. However, many puzzles persist. Despite advances in imaging technologies like CT scanning and synchrotron radiation, mysteries remain regarding the soft tissue anatomy of many marine reptiles, their exact metabolic rates, coloration, and social behaviors. The precise evolutionary pathways linking certain groups, such as placodonts, to other reptiles, often hinge on fragmentary or ambiguous fossil material. Fossil bias is a major challenge. Environments conducive to fossil preservation often differ from those where many marine animals lived or died. Deep-sea habitats, for instance, are poorly represented in the fossil record, potentially leaving out entire chapters of marine biodiversity and adaptation. Recent exceptional finds continue to revolutionize our understanding. The discovery of exquisitely preserved mosasaurs with skin impressions has shed light on their scales and coloration, while discoveries of massive plesiosaur specimens provide insights into growth rates and lifespan. Similarly, gigantic shark teeth attributed to megafaunal species offer clues to their formidable hunting adaptations. Yet, the vastness of prehistoric oceans assures many species remain undiscovered, their fossils yet to emerge or already lost to geological processes. Unsolved questions about the role of environmental stressors, interspecies interactions, and extinction mechanisms linger, an invitation for continued exploration and discovery. Imagining a deep-sea tableau, one might envision the bones and imprints of a colossal marine reptile resting silently on the seafloor, waiting millions of years to be uncovered, each fossil a whispered story of the ocean's ancient past. These ghosts of the deep challenge us to seek, to question, and to continue piecing together the mosaic of life's grand history beneath the waves. As we look ahead, we will explore how echoes of ancient titans resonate in modern marine giants, linking past and present in a continuum of extraordinary aquatic life, and reflect on humanity's enduring fascination with these prehistoric ocean rulers. The vast and mysterious oceans that cover our planet today are home to some of the largest and most fascinating creatures alive, their sprawling bodies and complex behaviors echoing the titanic prehistoric animals that once ruled ancient seas. Exploring modern marine giants, whales, sharks, giant squid, and others offers a profound connection to Earth's evolutionary past, where echoes of ancient titans persist in the anatomy, ecology, and lives of these remarkable contemporary organisms. Among the most striking living examples are the whales, especially the blue whale, the largest animal known to have ever existed. Growing up to 30 meters long and weighing as much as 200 tons, blue whales dwarf nearly all ancient marine creatures in sheer size. Their immense scale is a testament to the success of filter feeding strategies pioneered millions of years ago by giants like Leedsichthys. Modern baleen whales filter vast quantities of tiny krill and plankton using baleen plates, an efficient feeding method that supports enormous bodies in Earth's nutrient-rich oceans. These marine mammals not only mirror the size of prehistoric giants, but share many biological and ecological traits, such as streamlined body shapes, powerful tail flukes, and sophisticated respiratory systems adapted for deep diving. Their social behaviors, migration routes, and communication methods reveal an intricate and highly evolved interaction with the marine environment, reminiscent in complexity of prehistoric ecosystems. Turning from mammals to fish, the great white shark is a living shadow of ancient predatory lineages, including the colossal megalodon. Although considerably smaller than its prehistoric cousin, the great white remains a formidable apex predator. Its sharp, serrated teeth and powerful bite mechanics recall adaptations evolved through millions of years of shark evolution, confirming the enduring legacy of predatory efficiency in cartilaginous fishes. Similarly, the giant squid, a modern cephalopod whose elusive nature continues to mystify scientists, reminds us of ammonites and other ancient coiled and soft-bodied cephalopods. Its massive size, complex nervous system, and dynamic hunting techniques evoke echoes of a deep past inhabited by intelligent and adaptable marine invertebrates. Beyond individual species, entire ecological roles observed in fossil marine ecosystems are represented in contemporary oceans. Apex predators regulate prey populations, filter feeders maintain planktonic balance, and benthic foragers contribute to sediment dynamics, functions preserved through deep time that maintain ocean health. Modern deep-sea environments, some of the least explored habitats on Earth, intriguingly parallel ancient deep marine settings poorly recorded in the fossil record. Unique adaptations found in some deep-sea fishes and invertebrates, such as bioluminescence, pressure-resistant bodies, and specialized feeding, reflect evolutionary legacies and innovations that trace back to long-lost oceanic lineages. Importantly, the survival of many modern marine giants amidst environmental challenges spotlights both the resilience and vulnerability of oceanic life. Human impacts, including climate change, pollution, and overfishing, threaten these living titans in ways reminiscent of past extinction drivers, reminding us of our responsibility as stewards of a heritage reaching back hundreds of millions of years. Imagining the oceans today with their majestic whales breaching, great whites patrolling coastal waters, and giant squid lurking in twilight depths provides a living bridge to the primeval seas. These creatures, shaped by millennia of evolution, resonate as living echoes of prehistoric marine titans, testament to the enduring wonder and dynamic continuity of life beneath the waves. Continuing onwards, the human fascination with these ancient and modern giants reveals itself in myths, paleontological discoveries, and the ever-growing commitment to understanding and preserving the remarkable story of life entwined with the ocean's depths. Throughout human history, the mysteries of the ocean have inspired awe, myth, and curiosity, much like the ancient marine giants that once ruled the seas. Long before the scientific understanding of prehistoric life, these colossal creatures existed at the heart of legends and folklore, their echoes permeating art, storytelling, and cultural imagination. The journey from myth to paleontological discovery reflects humanity's enduring fascination with the deep and our relentless quest to unravel the secrets of Earth's ancient oceans. In many cultures, tales of sea monsters, giant serpents, and enormous aquatic beasts abound, often inspired by occasional encounters with large marine animals, beached skeletons, or fossil fragments poorly understood by ancient peoples. For instance, the mythical kraken, depicted as a monstrous squid or octopus capable of dragging entire ships beneath the waves, may have roots in sightings of giant cephalopods or interpretations of fossilized colossal bones. Similarly, accounts of serpentine sea dragons or leviathans in religious and mythological texts often resonate with the shapes and stories of prehistoric marine reptiles like plesiosaurs or mosasaurs, creatures extinct for millions of years, yet living vividly in human imagination. The transition to a scientific understanding began in the 18th and 19th centuries, as fossil discoveries unearthed bones and teeth of gigantic marine creatures, challenging previous perceptions of life's history. Early paleontologists, often working with fragmentary fossils, pieced together the anatomy of now extinct marine reptiles, fish, and invertebrates, gradually revealing a picture of an ancient world teeming with colossal marine life. The naming of creatures such as Megalodon, the Great Tooth, or the reconstruction of massive plesiosaur skeletons fueled public imagination and scientific inquiry alike. Museums began to display fossil specimens, inspiring wonder and advancing research. These discoveries not only confirmed the existence of prehistoric marine giants, but also highlighted their ecological importance and evolutionary relationships. In recent decades, advancements in technology, including CT scanning, 3D modeling, and geochemical analysis, have unveiled new insights into the lives of ancient sea monsters. Stunningly detailed fossil finds, such as soft tissue impressions and embryos, have enriched our knowledge of marine reptile behavior, reproduction, and physiology. The cultural impact remains strong. Marine giants captivate artists, writers, and filmmakers, symbolizing power, mystery, and the enduring allure of the unknown. From classical literature to modern media, these creatures have inspired countless narratives, blending science and imagination. Moreover, the human fascination with ancient ocean giants underscores broader themes: our connection to the past, the evolution of life, and the fragile beauty of ecosystems. It also reflects the spirit of discovery, reminding us that beneath layers of sediment lie stories waiting to be told. Picture early explorers and paleontologists holding massive teeth or bones, their eyes wide with wonder as they imagine creatures beyond the realm of knowledge. Their curiosity and dedication have transformed myths into science, connecting us to the long-lost marine titans and enriching our understanding of the natural world. As we look forward, the ongoing pursuit of knowledge invites us to consider the future of paleomarine studies, new technologies, discoveries, and insights that will deepen our grasp of ancient oceans and the giants that once ruled them. As we reach the frontier of understanding in the realm of prehistoric marine life, the fields of paleontology and marine biology stand poised on the cusp of remarkable advancements. Although our knowledge of ancient ocean giants has grown immensely, from the first discoveries of fossilized bones to the detailed reconstructions of their lives, many mysteries remain, tantalizingly out of reach. The future of paleomarine studies promises to illuminate these mysteries through cutting-edge research methodologies and transformative technologies. One of the most enduring questions revolves around the nuances of ancient marine ecology and behavior. How exactly did these massive creatures interact with one another? What were their precise breeding and social habits? How did physiological features such as thermoregulation, sensory perception, and locomotion evolve in response to dynamic oceanic environments? Unlocking these secrets requires not only more fossil evidence, but new ways to interpret existing specimens. Modern technological advancements are increasingly enabling scientists to analyze fossils with unprecedented detail. Techniques such as high-resolution computed tomography, CT scanning, allow researchers to peer inside fossilized bones without damaging them, revealing internal structures like brain cavities, inner ear morphology, and even growth lines that offer clues to age and health. Synchrotron radiation, a powerful imaging method, can detect chemical signatures indicative of soft tissue preservation, pigmentation, and metabolic processes. These imaging innovations are complemented by advances in geochemical analysis, where isotopic studies decipher ancient diets, migration patterns, and water temperatures through elemental composition preserved in fossil remains. Molecular paleobiology, although challenging for deep-time specimens, aims to retrieve biomolecules that could revolutionize understanding of evolutionary relationships and physiology. Robotics and biomechanical modeling provide further avenues to simulate the locomotion, feeding mechanics, and environmental interactions of extinct marine giants. Virtual reality, VR, and 3D printing technologies allow researchers and the public alike to visualize these creatures in immersive, tangible forms, transforming static fossils into dynamic reconstructions. Importantly, new fossil discoveries continue to play a crucial role. Exploration of understudied regions and advancements in excavation techniques increase the chances of uncovering exceptionally preserved specimens, fossils from deep-sea sediments, or soft-bodied organisms that typically elude fossilization. Interdisciplinary collaboration among geologists, biologists, chemists, and computer scientists amplifies the depth and breadth of insights. Environmental DNA, eDNA methodologies, though still emerging in paleontology, hold potential for detecting genetic traces from ancient sediments, shedding light on lost biodiversity and ecosystem structures. Despite these exciting prospects, challenges persist, such as the incomplete fossil record, preservation biases, and difficulties in interpreting limited data. Yet each new discovery and technological leap fuels optimism that long-standing enigmas will be resolved. Furthermore, the application of artificial intelligence, AI, and machine learning offers unprecedented ability to analyze vast paleontological databases, identify patterns, and generate predictive models for species distributions and evolutionary trends. As we embrace this new era of paleomarine research, we honor the legacy of ancient ocean titans not only through understanding their past, but recognizing their relevance to present and future marine ecosystems in a rapidly changing world. In our continuing quest, humanity stands as both historian and steward, equipped with ever more sophisticated tools to unravel Earth's deep oceanic past and safeguard its living futures, bridging epochs in the timeless dialogue of life beneath the waves.